लैपटॉप लो यार, लास्ट टाइम किया था आपने।
क्या हिमांशु जी आप कंटिन्यू कर रहे हैं, मैं कंटिन्यू कर रहा हूँ
सर?
आप गुड आफ्टरनून बोले थे बस।
सर कोई कॉल नहीं है, आई थॉट कि अभी आवाज जा नहीं रही है शायद।
ओके ओके, नो प्रॉब्लम, लेट मी स्टार्ट आउट, देन यू कैन टेक ओवर।
यस सर। So on behalf of Ministry of Housing and Affordable, I welcome all in this first workshop on city solid waste action plan and legacy action plan. I'd like to welcome Shri Ji, Joint Advisor in CPHO, Shri Shwas, partner is this training program. He's from CSE, and all the speakers from states and ULBs. So I request sir to please initiate this workshop, sir.
Thank you, Himanshu. I am able to talk clearly.
Yes sir, you are audible.
Once again, welcome to all the states that have joined with us for the training workshop on the city solid waste action plan. And in that, we are also trying to focus on one module, that is legacy waste dump site remediation action plan. I thank Atin for joining us. I hope all the state mission directors are available. I would request to kindly acknowledge State Mission Director. Karnataka is here. Andhra Pradesh.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. I am there.
Namaskar, sir. Welcome.
Namaskar, sir.
And Goa. Manipur. Kerala.
Yes, sir.
is participating, sir.
From Kerala, Mission
Yes,
Director
sir.
is there or someone is from the... Yeah, welcome, sir.
Yes.
Assam. From Assam. Once again, I am calling out the states. Anyone participating from Karnataka State Mission? Manipur? Goa and Assam. Okay, without wasting time, we will continue. Himanshu ji, I request that the state coordinators may again call them up to join this. I see 118 participants are here. So
Yes, sir.
and a lot of the participation is there. So we welcome them all. I request certain etiquette in our online session. Please mute yourself, and if you require to talk, kindly raise your hand. Our admin will unmute you. As an etiquette to our session and to others also, kindly stay muted except for the speaker. If you want to talk, kindly raise your hand, and you will be probably asked to unmute yourself by the admin. So, the SBF 2.0, now we are in an urgency. We have a small window of operating the budget available. We are already in the month of December, and by February, Minister of Finance will be closing the shutters as far as releases are concerned. So we are doing this training workshop to understand the preparation of this module for city solid waste action plan, and it has got further sub modules of 4. One is for entire waste processing, second is for dump site remediation, third is for C&D waste management, and fourth is mechanical sweeping. The third and fourth are particularly for the National Clean Air Program cities and ULV of 5 lakh and above. So today, we are dealing the ministry that the city solid and the waste as soon as possible, so that the process of start without losing much time. Let me also clarify that though the is required, module, you need not wait. Welcome that the complete CSWAP for all these is made. Outlay is identified, but do not get bogged down with that and with the maybe we as action plans are reaching the ministry from all the states, all the even if it is a module of. So with this background, and would be
Thank you so much, Ji, for this brief introduction. Let us now on with the agenda. Participants from all states. So my name is Atif. I am from Center for Science. So I'll be a moderator at length of announcement, something that Ravinder has already mentioned. Please keep your microphone muted for all the time unless you are asked to speak. And during this discussion, if you have any question, please use the chat box. And which is to structural condition and fund release procedure and conditions. So, Dr. Himanshu, about presentation.
So actually, these all the things which I am discussing for next 15 to 20 minutes. Some major points to just to reiterate those things to our ULV officials in preparing these action plans, city solid waste action plan and legacy waste action plan. So in our mission structure, mission management structure, there are no 4 tiers actually, starting from the ULB, which is on tier 4, where the ULB will committee is required. Then there are 3 state level committees, comprised of state powered committee, state level technical, and state mission directorate. And there will be a national level committee, which is National Advisory and Review Committee, NARC, and National Mission Directorate. So this is the broad mission management structure we have in SBM 2.0. So for this mission management structure is divided into 3 of operational guidelines. So I request all the ULB officials to just go through chapter. This is a very important chapter in terms of filling the details in required formats, in terms of proposal system, in terms of filling their proposals online, and as well as the fund release of for their projects. So at the state and level, we have already discussed HSPC will be formed under the chairmanship of Chief Secretary and drawn from concerned departments. The role of SHPC will be strategic, including oversight of regulatory compliances. And these compliances such as overall management of SBM 2.0 at the state UT level, approving state level plans for achieving Swachh Bharat Mission urban objectives, review of project progress, ensuring convergence of actions for sanitary and waste management in urban and rural areas of the state, and bringing about interdepartmental coordination of this about the convergence of rural and urban and practice. One of the important aspects we need to be highlighted, and the capacity building of relate stakeholders. In order to streamline the process of project sanction, a state level technical committee will be formed under the chairmanship of additional principal secretary or secretary urban. The mission convener with the following relevant to release of central assistance from Mahua, preparation of a state UT action plan with annual timelines to make ULBs, ODF plus, water plus, and 3-star garbage free cities. Helping ULBs prepare ULB level city sanitation action plan and city solid waste action plan for sanitation, use water, and SWM for all cities covered under Swachh Bharat Mission Urban 2.0, reviewing all DPRs and projects related to solid waste management, used water management, IEC, and capacity building, approving projects for uploading ULBs on proposal tracking system for fund release. This is one of the important aspects because all the proposals need to be uploaded on the proposal tracking system for approval as well as the fund release. Then the SBM State Mission Directorate, the role of the SBM State Mission Directorate, this directorate will be headed by a State Mission Director. The State Mission Director will also function as a member secretary to SHPC and convey to the SLTC, and will carry out the following indicative roles. These roles are ensuring compliances to state account, PFMS requirement for all ULBs, by all ULBs for revised fund release procedure as per Ministry of Finance directives, reviewing the state sanitation action plan, city solid waste action plan, and putting up consolidated state level plan in terms of fiscal and financial targets to SLTC. Technical scrutiny of DPRs received from ULBs and facilitating SLTC meetings under Principal Secretary Urban Development, recommending project fund as per mission guidelines. At Mahua, this National Advisory and Review Committee will be responsible for the following indicators. innovative activities. Reviewing and approving state UT action plans to achieve SBM 2.0 targets. Approving and releasing installments of Central Assistance Fund for states and UTs under SBM 2. Monitoring outcomes and performance of projects sanctioned under SBM 2.0. So hence, going forward, the following aspect may be noted while planning for project under SBM 2.0. All proposals from MoHUA will have to be mandatorily approved by SLTC and submitted online by ULBs on the SBM Urban MIS. The committed liabilities, second installment, under SBM Urban may be claimed as per the old guidelines of SBM 1 till 31st March 2023, beyond which the unclaimed amount would lapse. Only those proposals earlier approved by SHPC and submitted to MoHUA prior to release of operational guidelines on 27th October 2021 will be considered for fund release from MoHUA as a one-time exception. As per the funding pattern of SBM 2.0, even SLTC approval have not been obtained. This actually is applicable in around 16 cases where we have received the proposals for legacy waste dump site, where the most of the proposals are SHPC approved. So they need not to go again for SHPC approval, and they can submit their proposals with SLTC approval. Funding for other new proposals submitted post-release operational guidelines shall be as per the funding pattern of SBM 2.0. All proposals shall be submitted on the MIS P.0. Entry-level conditions under Swachh Bharat Mission Urban 2.0, so which is be fulfilled by all the state UTs and ULBs. The state-level nodal agency, we call it, registration and adoption of public financial management system. We call it PFMS by all ULBs. Aligning property tax floor rate with market rates with periodic revision in line with GSDP has recommended 15th Finance Commission over 2 years. Levy and collection of user charges for services provided to recover operational cost with periodic increase over 2 years. And there are certain conditions linked with the first installment condition for legacy waste dump site remediation. The first installment of 40% of allocated central share from MoHUA will be released to the states, provided the following entry conditions specified earlier and following additional conditions are satisfied. SLTC action plan for respective module for legacy waste dump site or an action plan for respective component submitted. Receipt of SLTC approval proposal for a city along with O&M arrangements for at least 5 years and its funding arrangement. So this is funding mechanism for SWM projects under SBM 2. These are the different funding categories in which state and ULBs will fall. The ULBs in North Himalayan will get 90% of the funding here, and the estimated cost we have derived is 5 rupees per ton for legacy waste dump site remediation. So they will get 90% of the estimated project cost. ULBs in UT without legislature will get 100%. ULBs in UT with legislature is 80%. ULB more than 10 lakh will get 25%. ULBs having population in the range of 1 to 10 lakh will get 33%, and the less than 1 lakh population ULBs will get 50% of the estimated project cost. So now I will request my IT team to start this online session for the mission of action plan online.
Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you.
Please go ahead.
I request Shri Arvind Upadhyay to start this online.
Do we have Arvind ji with us in this meeting?
Yeah, then it's starting in a second, in a moment.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Himanshuji. So just starting and sharing how the cities can get their action plan. So let me know once everybody is able to.
Yes, it is visible.
Thank you.
Please go ahead.
So I think everybody is aware of the Swachh. All the cities have user ID password with. So I'm giving a demonstration using one of the ULB. And everybody can follow the same steps. Let me log in the some login on the left. Actually, are pretty much familiar with the rest of the the modules. Let me take example like in city profile. So they do know in city facilities there is a section called dump site. So in dump site section they are providing certain details. That details, if it is provided by the ULB, will automatically get fetched in the city action plan. But for the sake of just a pointed discussion and specific discussion related to a city action plan, let me directly go to the action plan. You can see the screen, right? In the city action plan, there is a link called action plan list. You just click on that action plan list. You will find a menu. If you have already created any action plan, you will find that action plan will be there. But as you can see, the screen is blank because ULB have not created any action plan so far. So on the right hand side, you can find a button called add new. If you click on that, you will find all the different components within solid waste. So let me directly go to the dump site remediation. So if you click on dump site remediation, you will find there is one plan which I already created, right? So let me first delete that and then try demonstrating logging with the new plan. So I just now going to add this. So this is the complete details which you find on the screen. So as all the ULBs are filling the MIS, which we say now is Swachhtam portal. From that Swachhtam portal, for that specifically, all that wards. So dump site might falling in some ward or maybe outside the boundary of the city. In that case, it will be showing ward number 0, which is the default for all the cities. So first point is you can select the ward, and after that you can create the name for the dump site. Let me put this way, test. And after that, you just provide in which year that dump site was started. Let's take example, the dump site was started in 2017. What is the area of that dump site? Say 120 acres. So one thing which I want to highlight here is just be very careful while filling this detail, because the units are mentioned out here. Like area is in acres, right at the top is in meters, right? Distance is in meters. So those things you should be carefully filling those details. And then going to the legacy waste quantity in tons, how much is the quality waste there. Landmark, if you have any landmark around, because that is mandatory, because that is one thing which need to be created allocation down the line when we are going to connect this part with the GIS. So address, you have to provide that address. So if you have any images, please select that images and choose that file. If you don't have any images, you may provide let long out here. What is the status of remediation? Is that dump site remediation not proposed and yet to start, abhi ongoing hai ya complete ho chuki hai? So you just select that. For example, let's select ongoing. So whatever the detail there, how much is the inert, plastic, paper, everything, and transportation of output. Once you fill that detail, all the details, all the questions out here, just save it. Once you save it, it will reflect on the list as a list on the if you want to add it, and anything which you feel like need to be changed, update it and submit it back. Right, once that part is done, because there is a after that we are going to lock this up. So after that lockup, you will be able to update any of the details. The update if they are satisfied with the justification which ULBs are providing. If not, then it will be the action plan will be locked for that. So this is the city level. Likewise, the state level, once all these details are filled by ULBs, they create their own individual action plans that will roll up to the state level. Then state will going to submit that to the national level. So I'm just putting a pause because right now we are focusing on the city level. So let me take it back to Himanshu and proceed with the rest of the slides, please. And just one last point before Himanshu joins in. So in case any questions or any support required, I'm sure all the ULBs are aware of the support. So they can just click on that support part on the login page, and they can call and send a mail to them if they find any issue in that while filling the details.
Thank you, Arvindji. Dr. Himanshu, over to you.
Sir, we will again take that presentation forward, and we have snapshots of our solid waste action plans in the form of presentation only. So I request Malika to go directly at present formats of city level plan, solid waste plan. So Apenji, this is basically we would like to take easy that if they have any questions, clear their doubts about the action plan, how they will fill this. And so there are 2-3 modules of these action plans. We start with the city solid waste action plan and we'll move forward to the gap analysis and then the legacy waste action plan. So this is Annex 2 in the guideline at the page number 92, I believe.
94.
It's a simple, there is nothing which is a explanatory action plan format. Will be name of the district, state, union territory, then number of municipal zones in ULB. So, but just go through point wise point. Otherwise, zones, there are always some, you can say, issues with filling of the zones and wards. So please, I request all the ULB officials to please go point wise point in this. So number of wards, then the population household in the ULB is 2011 census. The population of household present in as per 2011 census. Then if they have any, they have the population they have any sense, because census is in progress as of now. So if they have any number of household and pollution as per the current scenario, they fill that as well. And then projection of 2024, because what we are setting up now, that will be operational within a couple of years or it will take years time. So we request all the ULBs to please do the projection, population projection and waste generation for 2025. Otherwise the project, if you set up now, will already be under designed when you reach 2025 or 26. So I request all the ULBs to do the projection of population household numbers here and fill it here. Next. So now there are few institutional frameworks here. The regulatory framework, whether municipal solid waste bylaws notified. This is, you have to furnish the details here. Roles and responsibilities for dealing with management of municipal solid waste services. Then governance reforms, implementation of e-governance in ULB, applicable or not applicable, ICT-based governance. So these are few regulatory, demographic and waste generation details which we require in this format from all the ULBs while filling this city solid waste action plan. Next. So this municipal solid waste management service level benchmark, household coverage of solid waste services. The benchmark here is 100%, and you have to fill before implementation and after implementation. What will be your achievement after the implementation of project? Suppose currently, if you are submitting something for collection and transportation, the present household coverage is around 50%, and you are submitting your project to achieve that implementation to 100%, then in the first column it will be 50% or whatever percentage you have in your ULBs. And what will be after the implementation of this project, what will be the household coverage? The same way it will go: efficiency of collection of municipal solid waste, extent of segregation, extent of municipal solid waste recovered, extent of scientific disposal of municipal solid waste, efficiency in redressal of customer complaints, extent of cost recovery in solid waste service. This is basically this is for the collection of user charges, the notification and collection of user charges against the collection and transportation and the door-to-door services for solid waste management. And the notification or notified user charges for municipal solid waste management services provide details. So these details need to be provided while filling the city solid waste action plan. Next. Now, with respect to all the numbers here, so please, as Oro also told you, that we need this units are mentioned here. So please go through these units first and fill the detail as per the units mentioned in the action plan, because there are chances where we have mentioned in tons and ULBs are filling it in kgs and kilos, so the numbers are, then it's tough to calculate those numbers actually. So the current MSW total generation in tons per day, and the next phase is per capita generation in grams. So one is in tons per day, and the next unit is in grams only. And then total waste collected. The number one column is waste generated. Number two column is waste collected tons per day. So number of ward participating source segregation. So there are two components. The door to door is coming after this. So one is the door to door coverage and one is the source segregation. So how the number of wards which are participating, practicing source segregation, and the what is the percentage of those wards as per the total number of wards. Same with the number of wards and percentage of wards doing 100% door-to-door waste collection. Then total quantity transported in tons per day. So transporting means the after the primary collection, the waste either to be collected at dhalaus or secondary collection points or transfer stations. So from these collection storage points, what quantity of waste is going to either the processing plant or to the disposal site. So in the secondary collection points existing, then what is the how many numbers of transfer stations here? What is the capacity of transfer stations? If you don't have transfer station, then you can again mention that you have secondary collection points, or some will be mention it as dhalao. So what is the wet waste there for the quantity of wet waste, and what is the quantity of dry waste you are transporting? And transfer stations basically applicable in the ULBs where the population is more than 5 lakhs. So normally we talk about the secondary collection points or dhalaus in case of ULBs less than 5 lakhs population. Next. So on the basis of waste characterization, quantity of segregated waste generated in tons per day of given waste stream. Current status. What is the current status? Wet waste quantity in tons per day, and you have to mention percentage of MSW. Suppose the total generation is 100 tons in a city, and the wet waste fraction is say 45 tons. So the percentage of MSW is 45%. Then the dry waste, suppose again 45 tons. So again, you have to mention 45% of the MSW. Sanitary waste maybe 1 ton. So you have to mention 1%. Domestic hazardous waste may be of 200, 300 kgs. So you need to mention point such percent. Then other waste. Other waste is there are certain waste we term as soiled waste, where you cannot segregate those items from the waste stream. So this is for the soiled waste, the quantum. Other waste, drain, desilt, inert, etc. Then you have to mention for CND waste as well. Total CND waste generated, quantity in tons per day, and you have to mention it against the MSW. Although they are not linked with MSW, but there are some thumb rules that certain percentage of CND waste is being generated against the percentage of municipal solid waste. So you have to mention here in the tons of in the percentage with respect to municipal solid waste.
हिमांशु जी थोड़ा पीछे जाइए.
So now during the planning phase,
हिमांशु जी 1 minute.
next Malika.
हिमांशु. हिमांशु जी.
So there is some technical lag, sir. It will take a moment's time.
Are you able to hear me, Himanshu?
I think there are some connectivity issues, Ravinder ji. I think he cannot hear you right now. So let us just wait for some time until he's back to connectivity.
So, depending on the quantity of municipal solid waste currently in tons per day, Malika, make it full screen. So what percentage of processing you have in your ULBs, you have to mention here for that, the composting, the operational design capacity, any under construction design, SHPC approved design capacity, defunct plant design capacity, and total design capacity. So this is composting and biomethanation is for wet waste, then MRF, then RDF processing. If you have an integrated solid waste management facility, then everything will be combined in that. Then waste to energy, and then sanitary landfill. So these need to be filled, keeping in mind the quantum of waste, the fractions you already mentioned in earlier format, that how much of the wet waste, how much is the dry waste. So depending on the quantity of waste, you have to plan your waste processing stream accordingly. Next. So, operation and maintenance and recovery of solid waste management fee issues. Prepare a statement of previous 5 years operation maintenance cost incurred in ULB or by ULB for O&M, operation and maintenance, and the collection of SWM uses fee and analysis of sustainability of operation and maintenance. Because most of the user fee is being used in collection and transportation of waste. And just to achieve the sustainability is very important aspect of any solid waste processing or management activity. So we want this these numbers just to analyze the impact and the level of sustainability and ULB is going to achieve or as of now achieving in the operational and maintenance cost is against the annual generation revenue. So 2021, then last 5 years, we request you to please fill these details of last 5 years in the city solid waste action plan. And for assessment of requirement of processing plant facility, we already know till time that what is our waste generation, what are the different streams of waste in tons, wet waste, dry waste, sanitary landfill. So what will be the requirement of our Atin, are you say? Atin, would you like to say something?
Go ahead and just finish this up because I can see a couple of questions on the chat box and we have specific time to discuss those. So please go ahead and finish. Am I- Dr. Himanshu, am I audible to you?
So assessment of requirement of processing plant facility. So per capita generation of waste generation, per capita waste generation actually we need to calculate before going to establish any facility. So for ULB is more than 10 lakh. So these are the thumb rules. The data from ULBs may vary according with respect to these numbers, but in most of the studies we found that this ULBs with more than 10 lakh population are normally per capita generation is 550 grams per capita. The ULBs with 1 to 10 lakh both included may have the waste generation of 450 grams per capita, while the ULBs with less than 1 lakh population, the per capita waste generation is 300 grams. It is better to have a waste quantification study before going for any kind of planning. The waste quantification will give you the correct figure of waste generation. Then you can project those numbers for 2025 while planning your waste management proposals or waste management plans. Next. So these again, these fractions are indicative. You can say they may change depending on the waste characterization in city to city, but in most of the cases, the wet waste is around 55% of the total waste generated. The dry waste is around in the ranges of 40 or 45%, depends on the economic strata and the city specific details. The domestic hazardous waste will be almost minor in nature. Then other waste, drain desilt around 10%. And for SLF, for sanitary landfill, as per the Solid Waste Management Rules 2060, not more than 20% of processing rejects and inerts to go and dump in sanitary landfill. And for sanitary landfill, the cells, because you need a environmental clearance for sanitary landfill. So as per this EC norms, the landfill should have at least a cell for 5 years, and then this landfill has a life for not less than 15 years as per the rules. And not more than 20% of municipal solid waste generated in a city should go and should dumped in sanitary landfill. Next. So this is a module 1 of operational guidelines, where we are working on the gap analysis for preparing a action plan. So what is the processing facility proposals, existing plant capacity, status of current capacity, deficit, surplus, and the gap projected.
Dr. Himanshu, before this,
Sir.
1 or 2 points. I think going back, kindly go back to say 8th or 9th row, 7th row. Go back. Design wala. Right. Here in the 9th, we are saying that you need to capture the data of all the existing plants. A lot of explanation has been given below also. All existing under construction, approved and defunct plants which are not written off. That is, they can be revived. All these data has to be captured, not according to their present working capacity, but according to their design capacity. So we have also written below that this capacity may be equal to or greater than B. Greater than B means B is the total quantity of MSW currently processed. At 8th row you can see. Now that doesn't actually give you the current availability of plants. The table below will give you the availability of processing capacity. Now here one question came up about the integrated SWM. This integrated SWM will also have inside it composting, maybe it has some biomethanation, maybe it has got RDF processing, MRFs are new things. So we don't know. Basically these integrated SWMs are, in the last decades, this was the style of tendering out the project. And the contractors were given the liberty to set up different kinds of plants as per the rules which permit. So that is why this integrated SWM was mentioned here. But let me clarify that in that also you need to capture what is the composting available and what is the RDF if it is dealing with the dry waste separately. Sanitary landfill is not a processing plant, but a disposing facility. But for the sake of easiness, it has been brought here. You need to develop the data for the available sanitary landfill capacity also, including that which is in process, that is under construction or under SHPC approval. Ultimately, all these will finally come to the gap analysis, what Dr. Himanshu is going to act with. Next slide. This is what we are going to look at the national level per capita generation. So if it is wildly fluctuating, there will be a problem. Next slide. Here we are given the indicative rates of wet waste, dry waste, etc. But we believe the actuals will also hover around this only, not too much variant from here. It should not be fantastically different from here. Let me make it clear to you. Back to you, Himanshu ji.
Thank you, sir. So that is why I requested all the ULBs where the waste quantity is higher, please go for a waste characterization before going for a planning in detail, sir. So that will be give the correct.
That waste characterization will not vary too much.
Sir.
In a geographical and cultural setting.
Sir.
The state mission directors must have already had their hands on this. If some of the smaller ULBs do not have an idea, it is the responsibility of the state mission director to do it, rather than conducting a waste characterization study and trying to get some different figures and again conducting it. It is better to get the guidance from the state mission director.
Sir. Next one. So this is basically for gap analysis. The processing facilities we have, suppose mixed waste processing facilities, continue to be used for either wet or dry or maybe for both, because this mixed waste processing facility will segregate the waste and the segregated component of dry and wet can be processed there. So the existing capacity to be mentioned here, the composting plants for wet waste, biomethanation plant for wet waste, MRFs for dry waste. You also have the ULBs may also have RDF plants for dry waste stream, which is coming either from MRFs or directly to the processing plant from compost plant or from the source segregated material. Waste to electricity, that is RDF based only, and these plants to be developed only in the cities where the population is more than 5 or 10 lakh tons, 10 lakhs. And the other describe the nature of plants feedstock should be source segregated waste. Source segregation is the soul of the entire process we have, and the operational, under construction, in tender, non-functional, good condition, all the explanations to be given in the gap analysis, so that the current status has to be worked out, that what is the requirement of a particular ULB in 2025 for waste processing facilities. And there is an important aspect that many ULBs have installed composting plants receiving mass waste without segregation at source, but carry out segregation within the process. Such plants shall be continued to be utilized for either wet or dry waste. These kind of plants we say as mixed waste processing facilities or solid waste processing facilities. So these to be for full design capacity with segregation at source. It will result in proposing plants for other waste stream also. Next slide, Malika. So MSW processing action plan is proposed. So after the gap analysis, suppose we have a wet waste, suppose 50 tons per day, we have existing capacity of 25 tons per day. So for the other 25 tons, whether we are going for to set up a composting plant or we are going to set up a biomethanation plant, this has to be decided with the level of segregation in the ULB and the plant they want to set up for processing of wet waste. So what is the capacity of proposed plant in tons per day, whether it is compost plant or biomethanation plant? What will be the estimated cost of that plant? And what will be the plant commissioning date? So normally this compost and biomethanation plant took 12 to 15 months from the date of start of work. So this need to be mentioned in, and again same for the material recovery facility for dry waste, the standalone RDF plants for dry waste stream, waste to electricity that is applicable only in the cities with more than 10 lakh of population, and others. So other proposal part of MSW, construction of SLF, construction of transfer station in case the city has population more than 5 lakhs. So all should be come here, and the final total in the last line. Next.
Here the plant commissioning date is very important. Going forward, you will see that the cities have to become 1 star, 3 star, like that. There is a timeline to be given by the state. So the commissioning date of the plant that we have captured there in the previous slide is very important. You should keep it reasonable. Do not stretch the time. If it is smaller capacity and that will be your targeting for 3 star immediately, it should be done maybe within 6 months or 1 year in line with the 3 star rating. And if it is a very large plant and your name that you will be among the last ULBs to become 3 star, this has to be done with a 2 year or 3 year time period. Also, please keep in mind, going forward, you will see that to receive the second installment, the ULB has to become necessarily 1 star. Necessarily, it has to become 1 star. So therefore, a plant, plant and getting it to operate, even if partial capacity is very important. Please go ahead, Dr. Mansh.
Thank you, sir. Suppose we have mentioned 5 in the last slide. Suppose we have mentioned the processing plant capacity required for wet waste is 5 tons of compost and 10 tons of biomethanation. So adding both the things for the wet waste processing, you have to add the total proposed cost of biomethanation as well as compost plant here in the total proposed cost. Then the central assistance under SBM2, the slide we have already discussed, the different categories of ULB will get the different percentage of fund here. Then a state government fund, ULB fund, and other funds. Suppose you are going for public-private partnership. So what is the contribution of public-private, this private agency in that? Same wise for dry waste processing, if you are going for RDF and MRF both, so what will be the integrated cost of both the dry waste facilities? Suppose there is a cost of 1 crore of MRF and 3 crores of RDF. So you have to mention here 4 crores. And out of 4 crores, what will be your central assistance? What will be the state government fund, then ULB fund? And if the PPP player is coming in picture, then what will be the contribution of the PPP player? The same for sanitary landfill and transfer station. So transfer stations are only applicable in the cities where the population is more than 5 lakh. Next. So as sir already briefed, Ravinder ji has already briefed this, that ULB commitment timelines for the certification under GFC star rating. So you have to be pretty cautious about giving the commitment and commitment date for these plants. So 3-star rating commitment is mandatory before 31st March 2016. So that we need to keep in our mind by planning for any kind of processing facility, be it wet, be it waste, wet or dry waste, or SLF, or waste to energy. Next. So this is consolidated financial action plan for MSW processing, action plan amount, number of ULB covered. So this is for state basically, and what is the fund allocation or fund distribution for financial year 2021-22, 22-23, and 22-23-24, equal to SBM 2.0 SWM allocation processing part only, and then for state UTs, this again consolidation of those things. Well, all ULBs to be 1-star rated by 31st March 2023. That so this for second installment, this timeline is pretty important for us. Central financial assistance. Next. So now this is our legacy waste action plan. So ULB dump site remediation plan applicable only if ULB has an existing dump sites, or the ULBs may have more than one dump site in their city. So if ULB has more than one dump site, then add column
Dr. Himanshu,
table below.
Himanshu,
Sir.
I think CSE will deal with this.
Sure, sir. So over to you, Atin.
Yes, Dr. Himanshu, thank you so much. I would request the admin to give rights to present to Dr. Richa. She is in the list. She has already joined.
Sure.
And I would invite Dr. Richa to quickly present the legacy waste dump site remediation action plan using this template, which we can see right on the screen.
Dr. Richa, you may present your slides.
She is unable to share her screen, Ravinder ji. She needs to be given access. I'll request admin to give her access to share her screen.
Access provided, Atin ji.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Atin?
Yes, we can hear you.
Please go ahead. You have 10 minutes to make the presentation.
Is my screen visible to everyone?
A little more
Yes, it is
clarity. in
visible.
your
Make it full screen, please.
Audio is very weak. Audio is weak.
Yeah, please keep your mic closer to.
Yes. Am I audible to everyone now?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yes. So hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Richa Singh from Center for Science and Environment. So we are going to discuss the module 2, which is a legacy waste dump site remediation action plan for the ULBs. So the ULBs, this is applicable for the ULBs which are having existing dump site, which could be one or more than one. If the ULB has more than one dump site, they need to add more columns to this particular template. As you can see, these are the important piece of information that is required from the urban local bodies. The first being total quantity of existing legacy waste in tons, followed by land occupied by the dump site in acres. I think I'll go one by one to each of these piece of information. So as you can see, this is the first one, which is a total quantity of legacy waste in the existing dump sites, which can be estimated by various methods like topographical analysis, geotechnical surveying, drone survey. So basically, a total station survey is supposed to be done by the ULB in order to quantify the legacy waste and also the land occupied by the dump site. Need to provide data related to the quantity of waste to be bioremediated, which can also be determined by the in analysis. Then the proposed method of dump site remediation, which can be either by biomining, biocapping, or hybrid. So the most preferred option suggested by the CPCB guidelines and the Swachh Bharat Mission advisory is biomining. However, for certain condition like geographical condition, and if the dump site is situated in some eco-fragile region, biocapping is also suggested. In some of the cases, a combination of both these biocapping and biomining can be adopted, and that could be called as a hybrid or a partial capping method. The other thing is indicative uses or the utilization of segregated material. So the ULB need to understand that there are typically in Indian dump sites there are 5 fractions that are obtained. The most significant fraction is the fine fraction or the soil-like material, which ranges the size is below 6 mm in size. So they need to get the tentative percentage and what is going to be the indicative use of that particular fraction. Similar coarse material, which is C&D waste, the biosoils, soil enricher, which can be used in horticulture, agriculture, or barren land. Now, this is the fraction which is obtained because of dumping of the fresh municipal solid waste in the existing dump site. There could be presence of other recyclables such as metals and glass. However, the fraction of these particular waste is very less in comparison to rest of the fractions. And if there is any presence of hazardous material which they are expecting from the existing landfill, that also they need to not the indicative use, but how they are going to plan the disposal, they need to mention. If we talk about the action plan for recoverable material, so basically this is the template that is provided where they can just mention about if it is RDF, what are the nearby waste to energy plant or cement industry or other industries that they have identified, but they have or not. This is also the responsibility of concessionaire. They need to identify these, what would be the action plan for fractions of legacy waste that they have excavated from the dump sites. Similarly, the inert waste or fine fraction, C&D waste, the biosoils or the soil enricher, other recyclables and disposal of non-recyclables in the sanitary landfills. They also need to mention the distance of these facilities from the existing dump sites. So coming to the remediated land, how much land is going to be cleared by treating and removing the legacy waste? So basically the land footprint they are going to get or expecting to get after the of legacy waste. In case of hybrid model or partial capping, they also need to provide the data related to how much land is going to be used for disposal of the inerts or the non-recyclable materials and the end use of recovered land. So coming to estimated cost of remediated land, so basically has a costing being carried out, they have to provide, they can answer it in either yes or no. Total cost of estimated cost of the project, of the biomining project, what is going to be the estimated cost per ton cost, which can be calculated based on the total cost of the project and the total quantity of legacy waste present in the dump site. Also, the estimated value of the land recovered, depending on from where it varies from city to city, and the revenue from legacy waste fractions, which is practically not feasible to get. But then, if they are expecting some kind of revenue from the revenue generating fractions, such as RDF and other fractions, they need to mention that. So, if you see that way, we have actually covered all these important piece of information which are provided in the template in the toolkit. So that's all from my side. Thank you. Over to you, Atin.
Thank you so much, Dr. Richa. Over to you, Dr. Himanshu, to discuss the consolidated financial action plan for dump site remediation and the rest of the issues in connection with the legacy waste dump site remediation action plan.
Yeah, Malika, please share your screen.
Really thanks to Dr. Richa for amplifying our template. We kept it short because it was already running into 11 pages. So amplifying it very nicely. Biggest problem is how to stop the dump from growing and where the disposal will happen. The ULBs and the state mission directors and the principal secretary all need to come together and even take the environmental ministry in their states on board. This is the first item that they should do so that work proceeds without hindrances. Thank you. Himanshu sir.
There is some technical issue, sir. So meanwhile, we can take some questions from ULB, sir.
नहीं खत्म करिए 2 पेज है क्वेश्चन सेशन इट शुड बी ओपन विदाउट एनी हिंड्रेंसेस आप खत्म करिए जल्दी करिए
सर
Ravinderji, we already have few questions on the chat box, not exactly related to legacy dump site remediation. So by the time the problem is getting addressed and fixed, can we just take a look and try and respond them?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, so the first question that we have from Shilpa ji is basically she's seeking some guidance on the quantification of C&D waste as they're finding it very difficult. So
I had noted it down also, C&D waste.
Yes. Yes.
C&D waste, let me share my example. In the medium cities like Jabalpur and Tirupati, they set up a plant of about 10 to 15% of the municipal solid waste. Like Tirupati had 80 TPD, I believe 50 or something like that, and Jabalpur also something around 150. But in the day-to-day operations, they were finding that they were receiving very less quantity. Now, Indore is another city which has done really well in our such surveys. There, the total generation is 1100 TPD. Municipal solid waste generation is 1100 TPD. And they have just 100 TPD C&D waste processing plant. So again, it comes to around 10%. But when we come to major cities, like Ahmedabad has 1000, they go up and down, but it is a totally privately managed. So that was slightly maybe over-designed. Hyderabad has set up 4 different plants of totaling to 2000. 2 have been functional and 2 are yet to commence. When we come to Delhi, already plants of about 3500 are functional, whereas the generation is around 10,000. So 35% it becomes when it comes to Delhi. So the takeaway is that wherever urbanization and reconstruction, redevelopment, even in the neighborhoods I'm not talking about Kidwai Nagar and other government colonies. Lot of reconstruction is happening in our neighborhoods also. There it is very heavy, whereas in the smaller cities it is less. So in Swachh Bharat Mission, what we have taken is around 10 to 20% of the total municipal solid waste we have considered for setting up of C&D waste plant. Now, before more questions are asked, let me clarify also, C&D waste is non-perishable thing, and even if you generate a high quantity on certain seasons, the plant can be run over time, running 2 hours over time or 3 hours over time, and the entire thing can be processed. So let us say around 10 to 20% is a reasonable guess to start operations. And if you need to enhance the capacity, not necessary to have the equipment for such an order, but work more hours, because C&D waste sometimes is a very seasonal generation. So that way we can do that. This is my clarification. If there is more clarification required, I am here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravinder ji. I think the presentation is now available. Everyone can see. So I will request Dr. Himanshu to run through the presentation, and after that, in addition to the question which are already there in the chat box, if there are more questions from the participants, so we can have them and discuss over. Over to you, Dr. Himanshu.
Thank you, Aten. Thank you. So for consolidated financial action plan of dump site remediation, the action plan amount, so because this is some, depending on the waste quantity, it will have a time implication. If you have 15,000 tons of waste and one ULB has 2 lakh tons of waste, so it will spread in couple of financial years. So what will be the number of ULBs requirement, because this is from the state. So for suppose there are 10 ULBs which have dump sites, so what will be the action plan amount for the financial year 21-22, and what will be the action of fund requirement for the financial year 22-23? From this, there is an allocation of, for every state, for every ULB, there is an allocation as per the allocated amount from MoHUA. For that, so the allocation will be done on the behalf of that amount and not as per the amount submitted by the ULBs. So action plan approval to be obtained by 31st March 2022 for all ULBs less than 10 lakh by 23, and all ULBs more than 10 lakh is by 23. So detail ULB wise, dump site wise action plan statement is to be furnished on the online portal, which has been described or detailed by Arvind Upadhyay ji. And the consolidated financial action plan for dump site remediation will be number of ULBs completing remediation before SBM2 by so that part has already been covered, and by 22 how many of will be remediated, by 23 31st March 23, which as per the planning how many will be completed their remediation part. So this entire thing will be submitted in a time bound manner with the distribution of financial requirement of the particular ULB and state. Thank you, sir.
1 minute here, Dr. Himanshu.
Sir.
In this slide, on the top you are seeing the financial action plan, and at the bottom also consolidated financial action plan. So mistake is mine. This is a physical one. Bottom one is a physical action plan. It's not the financial one. This is my mistake. In the top you are seeing, by if ULB is more than 10 lakh, by 31/3/23 you have to submit the action rule. That means not exactly in the month of March, but in that financial year you should get approved. At least you will get 1 year to complete the project by 31st March 2024. So the bottom one is a physical action plan. You might have done certain ULBs which have done the work before SBM 2.0, and certain ULBs you are targeting to complete by July 2022. Let me explain it here. 2022 August, we will be celebrating 75th year of India's independence. And it would be a very good declaration that the states will declare some of their ULBs free from dump sites during those Independence Day celebrations. That's why this date has been brought in. And because we are allowing the action plans even right up to the end of financial year 22-23, one more year is given. Therefore, certain ULBs will complete by March 2023 and some more will complete by 31-3. This is a complete physical remediation that is happening. Thank you. Go ahead.
Sir, that's all from my side, sir. We'll take questions from ULB. Atinji, over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Himanshu, Arvindji, and Ravinderji for very nicely presenting and clarifying all the issues that basically the cities should be equipped with, so there's a big sense of urgency. I hope the points are very well clarified. So Ravinderji has already answered the first question that we had from Shilpaji. And so let us first take the questions that we have in the chat box. After that, we can open it in the floor, and then any ULB or any state can ask their questions for any clarification they might require. So the second question, which has also come from Shilpaji, is what should be considered as integrated solid waste management under processing plants? So I would request Dr. Himanshu or Ravinderji to please respond.
Yeah, I had mentioned in between also integrated solid waste management projects were awarded particularly in the last decade and a half. Those were the kind of tenders that were floated and agreements were signed. So integrated solid waste management project, sometimes ULBs are simply calling it continuously like that. Some of the ULBs are saying that we have an integrated solid waste management facility. Let me give an example that the North Delhi North Delhi has an integrated solid waste management project. What comes out in the open is that they have a waste to electricity plant of 2000 TPD. What doesn't come out from that detailing is that there is an SLF also in that project, sanitary landfill, and there is a small compost plant also in that. So I want our ULBs and the state mission director to dive into all the components that are part of the integrated solid waste management project and capture those capacities accordingly to know what is the gap which should be addressed under SBM 2.0. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravinderji. And it is indeed extremely important to understand that what is our current generation, what is our projected generation, so that we can prepare ourselves with a required amount of design capacity in each of the facilities that basically we are planning to develop or we have developed. So that is very nicely addressed. So the next question that has come from Krishna Mohanji is basically any action plans to overcome animal dung, straw, which is becoming problems. Even now, Delhi and surrounding cities are facing problems. So he wants to know how do we deal with the animal dung or straw as part of the municipal solid waste streams? So any suggestions?
Animal dung and leftover animal straw is not part of the municipal solid waste. Under the activity of land use master planning for the last 30 years, these dairy farms, etc., were to be shifted outside the city, and there are certain specified areas in which they have to be there. And those areas will be managed locally there itself and they are not typical part of the municipal habitations that we come across. So I think that should clarify. The animal dairy farms are not supposed to be part of the these residential and other commercial areas coming under this.
Thank you, Ravinder ji. The next question is from Suchitwa Mission, Kerala. For remediation of legacy waste, as per CPCB guideline, it is mentioned assess the quantity of waste as volume rather than weight. But as per SBM format, it is required to provide data by tons. So there is a which standard is to be followed or average unit weight for the same. So basically, there are two different protocols suggested by two different documents. So Ravinder ji, if you could please clarify.
We are aware of that CPCB, which mentions the guidelines for dump site remediation as per cubic meter. But all your equipment and the power consumption happening in the process of remediation, fuel expended, etc., is all dependent on the weight only, that is the mass only. So actually, cubic meter wise may not be very scientific assessment. However, at the same time, you need to have the profiles of the existing dump site through total station survey or drone survey. Drones are sometimes, shot down by the vultures there. I've heard that if they are somebody is trying to have a mapping of the dump site using drones, the vultures there, are attacking that also. So you need to have a contour plan map and you can estimate the quantity. But the problem is there is a lot of mixed waste, particularly CND waste also. We don't want to put the equipment and the fuel consumption and the electricity consumption when the stones and the boulders also come into play. We don't want anyone to suffer losses simply because you have used the cubic meter basis. So nowadays those trommelings also are having on the trommel itself the weight sensors. What is the weight passing through the trommel? That has been effectively used in some of our ULBs. So that much weight you have processed by the contractor without particular reference to the cubic meter. So easily you can maintain the data. So that's why we mentioned for that.
ఎందుకంటే పెళ్ళైన 4 ఏళ్ల గ్యాప్ లో అంటే వంటల ముందే వచ్చింది.
Others please mute.
ఫంక్షన్ పిలిచిన అందరూ వస్తారు. 20 మంది పైనే. ప్లీజ్
Himanshu ji, you want to add something?
Not at all, sir. You covered all the things, sir. Basically, that is why we pressure, that is why, sir, we say that first you excavate, then stabilize the things, and then go for weighing and all. This is a standard procedure. Most of the ULBs, they are doing this, the excavation, then stabilizing, and then going for the weighing of the waste.
Thank you. Thank you, Ravinder ji.
I forgot to mention, sometimes there can be gas pockets also.
Sir.
So, cubic meter may not be very scientific. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Richa, you want to add something in addition to what Ravinder ji and Himanshu ji said?
Yes, Satin. As a thumb rule, we know that legacy waste dump sites, if we know the age of the landfill or the age of the dump site, the older the landfill is, the higher will be the density. So in most of the cases, it has been seen that, the density is like 0.8 metric tons per cubic meter. So if we know the volume, we can actually calculate it without doing this representative sampling procedures. So, and in these contour surveying or drone surveying, most of the times it is they give you this the elevation from the ground level, so you can actually get the volume. And if you have you can just assume that a typical dump site, which is 5 year or 10 year old or more than that, you can assume this the density as 0.8 metric tons per cubic meter, and you can actually estimate. That won't be the accurate value, but that can actually give you some estimated value, or which you can use for your calculations. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Richa. We don't have any question in the chat box, so I would like to open it up in the floor and request any participant from all the states who are currently with us to kind of unmute themselves or ask their question directly.
So admin has unmuted, madam, this, there is no bar in, just unmute yourself and ask any question if you have.
Yes.
This is Raghavendra from.
Yes, Raghavendra ji, we can hear you. Please go ahead, ask your question.
With respect to the smaller cities, which are having very small quantities like 20,000 or 30,000 metres of legacy waste, no contractor is interested in managing that waste. This context of what will be the solution, since clubbing together the is also a difficulty. Councils may not agree. It's a practical problem we are facing. Any other
Not very clear.
Whatever little I understood, Ravindra ji, that he is representing a smaller city and they are having to deal with a smaller quantity of legacy waste, for which they are finding it difficult to get a concessionaire or a contractor on board who are not interested to deal with such smaller quantity. So in that case, what should they do? What is the guidance that we can provide?
Okay, I request all others to kindly mute. This is a very important. Others, class, please mute.
Participants, please mute yourself. Other than the one who is speaking, please mute yourself, and you can ask your question only when the previous question has been answered by the panel, right? So please keep yourself muted. Over to you, Ravindra ji. Please go ahead.
Yes. When we are looking at about more than 4,400 ULBs, maybe there are data available says there are 2,000 to 3,000 dump sites lying. So we don't know how many smaller ULBs. That's a very important question. No contractor will come, and contracting like that would be, I think, will always get no response. What the states are doing is they are centrally procuring this equipment. Sometimes it is even mobile equipment, portable type of equipment, and they are centrally procuring it and sending it to different ULBs of say 10,000 tons or 5,000 tons, whatever, or 20,000 tons if it is lying there, to remediate it and shift it to other ULB. And that way they are dealing with it. I think this is a very good model, and only this way it will be working. Otherwise, the smaller ULBs will not get a contractor. Even if they get, they will get a very high rate, which will be unsustainable for even the state to support.
Thank you, Ravindra ji.
I would like to add one point here, sir, with your due permission, sir. Sir, this ULB can also buy, and there is some equipment manufacturers who are providing their equipments on rent as well, sir. Rent with O&M contract. So there are many options for a smaller ULBs as well. Instead of going everything, depending everything to a developer, there are different models. Suppose renting out the equipments, giving O&M contracts. So there are multiple options they can avail.
In this regard, would you please hand hold these type of model RFPs where we can hire the equipment or just outsource them this thing modules RFPs in the website so that it be helpful for the smaller cities to get the things done.
Yes, we can share, Raghavanji. You can contact us after this meeting or any day as per your convenience. So that letter has the mobile number of Ravinderji as well as mine. So you can connect us with any time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Himanshu ji. Thank you, Ravindra ji. So basically, what boils down is that there could be situation where and the quantity of legacy waste that we are having to deal with could be so little or so small that the cities may find it difficult to get a concession. In that case, the city can very well rent the equipments like trommels and density based separators and other equipments for the biomining operation and do it themselves. So it is therefore extremely critical that the capacity of the city officials who are basically responsible for managing the landfill or the dump site, whatever they have, and understand the process themselves if they have to do it themselves. So it's very, very critical that their capacity is built that way. So thank you all the panelists. Now, any other question? Any participant, please unmute and.
Sir, if no questions, I will raise a question, sir.
Yeah, please.
I think something has come on the chat box.
Yes, again, we have a question from Shilpa ji. Please provide the options available for smaller ULBs to manage their legacy waste and also the person's contact details who needs to be approached for RFPs or request for proposals. Ravindra ji.
The same thing, na sir? Same thing. So that has been already addressed.
Yes.
We will be sharing the model for smaller ULB.
Yes.
I have this question, rather request to the state mission directors. I could see Assam also had joined. Our friends from Karnataka have joined. Karnataka.
Yes, sir. I'm from Directorate of Municipal Administration, sir. I'm the Bhanumati.
Yes, Karnataka. And Goa. Goa, anyone from Goa? Manipur, I believe Assam has joined. I could see them in the participant list. So I request all the states to prepare their action plans immediately. As given by Aurobindo, there is a online tool to this thing. And very important point is SBM 2.0 will be a paperless mission. Totally paperless. Everything will be online. You need to upload your everything online. So the states need to handhold the ULBs, prepare a small guide, do-it-yourself model using our templates that are there already with you. And each and every ULB, you need to help them. You know, fractions of waste will be sometimes a new question for them. How much is the wet waste? How much is the dry waste? And how much will have to go to SLF, etc. They will get stuck there. So without waiting for any time, you start doing it. Now, because Mr. Raghavendra has raised the question, you may have a certain group of ULBs which will require probably a central procurement or a renting or a hiring model. That also you need to understand and do that. We are keeping the funding pattern or the financial funding from the states, from the center to the states for dump site remediation within 2 years only. That is up to 31st March next year, 2022, and the following year, that is up to 31st March 2023. we want to make this dump site remediation as the first front-loaded action of the Swachh Bharat mission. And we request your full cooperation in this so that we can claim maybe August 15th next year that many of our ULBs have become dump site free. And that dump site area itself may hoist a national flag in complete green and clean surroundings also. That is my humble suggestion to our state mission directors. Back to you, Atinji.
Thank you so much, Ravinderji. I don't think we are having any question, and there's nothing in the chat box as well. So that basically brings us to the closure of this wonderful discussion that we had for nearly 2 hours, 1.5 hours. Basically, the task in hand is pretty clear. It is also a very critical to kind of step up and get the plan prepared and approved in time so that the states can access the central assistance in time, and the benchmarks that have been put out in the intervals has to be also very carefully studied and adhered to. And with your permission, Ravinderji, if there are cities who are basically planning to do it themselves, if they need any capacity building input, they can always reach out to us so that we can also support them for whatever knowledge or whatever skill they need to do it themselves. So that is basically it to summarize. So and the guideline is very comprehensive, the SBM2 operational guideline. So I would urge all the mission directors and all the cities to study the guidelines very carefully, because majority of the answers to our questions are basically hiding over there. So let us first study it, and then if there is any further query, then the team in the ministry is always there to assist, to support to the possible extent. So on this note, I thank all the participants and all the cities, all the mission directors.
I'm from Karnataka, sir. I have a submission.
Yeah, please go ahead, please.
Sir, can the ministry empanel the list of service providers in this legacy waste management?
Ravinderji.
Yeah, there is no time for that now.
Sir, I'm asking for the empanelment, sir. Is there any such a list of empaneled service providers?
For dump site remedy.
Yes, sir. Whom we can directly contact.
There is no such thing. And our SWM list of 47 has also become outdated now.
Okay.
And now I had mentioned in the very beginning that we are in December, and February 15th or February 10th, Ministry of Finance will be closing down the shutters so that the funds will not flow out. So we have very little time, 2 hours left. I request all the state mission directors, maybe next year we will be able to give you some empaneled list. But this year we will be only losing time if we do it now. States will have to find their resources and do it immediately. Maybe next year we can.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The ministry basically organized a national scale workshop on this issue, where a lot of industry partners joined, so who are already into this sector. So you can reach out to some of them, and we can provide you with at least the contact details so that you can initiate the discussion to kind of start the work on the ground. So is there any question? So I'd like to ask for one final time. Is there any question or any suggestion, anything from the participants?
I'd like to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of the ministry. Atinji?
Please go ahead, sir, please.
Yeah, this is one of the workshop in which there were a lot of participants, sometimes 200 also, more than 200, but we are finishing ahead of schedule. So the target is, I think, plain and clear to everyone. Now, we should start doing it. So I want to thank all the ULBs which have joined in addition to the state mission directors that shows their interest in the subject. Getting 200 and more ULBs in a 1 day's notice, only yesterday the letter was sent, is a very encouraging thing. So we are available, myself and Dr. Himanshu, and you can call us anytime. We will be putting my numbers and Dr. Himanshu's number also in chat box just now. I want to thank all of them, and I really want to thank CSC also. At a short notice, you have come and moderated this session very well and explaining the details of the how to go about land and legacy-based remedies. I know that we will need to continuously engage so that we are able to deliver certain action plans and get the funds also during this financial year before it closes. Thanks to all and thanks to CAC, particularly Mr. Atin. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It is a huge opportunity for us to partner with the ministry to support this mission, and it has to be seen in a mission mode only. So just on a closing note, I would urge all the states to take it as on a mission mode and take it and get the plan prepared on a work footing measure to kind of access the central grant. So thank you so much. Thank you all the participants, and thanks to all the colleagues from Mohua. So with this, so let us now close. Thank you. Goodbye.